You weren't traumatized by that? Having to carry around your own poop clothes
No,
for a day
no,
or two?
sure not.
Wow.
Poop clothes.
Yeah, that's my next band, apparently.
Just what I was
Ah,
about to say.
Clothes.
it's a cover band.
That's it.
It's a Skid Row cover band. Poop clothes. Welcome to the Greens and Blues podcast. Today we're giving you a bonus episode sandwiched in between our Father's Day episode and our next episode on our worst 14er experience. Today we're talking with Eric's sons, Ty and Zac. Eric, do you have any thoughts on talking with your sons for the Greens and Blues podcast?
Well, Zach, I hope that I haven't scarred them with the hiking experiences I've taken them on, and I hope I haven't scarred them by having them be on our podcast. So I'm looking forward to talking with them.
I think one of the genuine aims of parenting is that we try not to scar our kids too much.
Mm.
I didn't say that we try not to, because I think that my wife and I always say she's going to have to go to therapy for this.
It's going to be inevitable, I think.
Yeah, it's inevitable. Is the scarring productive?
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get into a little bit of that when we talk to your sons. We decided for this episode to conduct our interviews separately with Eric's sons, Tyler and Zac. So what you'll hear in the forthcoming moments are separate interviews with his very buoyant, very energetic, very funny and charming little people that Eric and his lovely wife have created. Any other thoughts, Eric, before we go into our interviews?
Any energy and buoyancy and positive things did not come from this guy. So thank you, Rachel, for being amazing and for giving our boys all of the good things.
We're here today with a very special guest. On the Greens and Blues podcast, we have our regular hosts, Zac Simpson and Eric Fredrickson, but we have another Zac here today, Zachary Fredrickson. This is another Father's Day episode, and we thought it would be fun to talk to Eric's son, Zac, and some of his experiences hiking with Dad. So, Eric, do you have any questions for your beloved son?
Oh, have I got questions? All right.
We we brought him on to talk about hiking, but we're really going to ask him. We're going to grill him about his grades.
That's right. Oh, how about that, Z?
No, no, you're not. No way.
All right, we'll forego those then. That's fine. So Z, you've lived in Colorado your entire life. How old are you again?
The 10, almost 11.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. I'm kidding. I already knew
Did you need to be reminded of that, Dad?
that. His birthday's in a couple weeks, so he's pushing 11. So you've had a lot of experiences outdoors, right? We've done some backpacking with friends and family, hiked a couple mountains with me. You've done some, your school calls them voyages. A couple times a year, you'll do a couple of overnights with your classmates.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of your fondest memories of just being outdoors in Colorado?
Probably on one of my voyages, going canoeing and throwing seaweed at my friends.
That sounds glorious. How can you beat that?
Where
We
where
like to talk
was
about,
this where there was seaweed, Zac?
This was at Camp Shady Brook.
where's that at
It's
again?
somewhere in the mountains. I'm not quite sure.
I'm not sure where Shady Brook
It's
is. I
very
forget.
isolated.
Yeah.
That sounds delightful. As a prankster,
Yeah.
I have nothing but respect for that. You've hiked some mountains too with Dad. What's your favorite mountain experience with Dad?
Probably Mount Snicktow, actually. It was hard, but it was fun. My dad had to carry me up most of the way, though.
It's what dads do.
I had a little bit of a sore back after that one, but
Right.
it was fun. Me and Zach and Ty, my other son, the three of us did it. And that was what, 3 years ago, something like that?
Yeah,
A
and
little bit.
actually it was the day before one of my voyages, so it was just all super tiring.
I forgot about that.
Did you like it that your dad carried you? Was that the best part of it?
No, probably there is a lot of rocks going up the trail, so probably just slipping on the rocks. It was just tiny pebbles, sometimes big rocks, but just slipping on the rocks, sliding down, and then keep going back up. Yeah,
That was fun.
that
You
was
enjoyed
fun.
that?
That was really fun.
Interesting.
When you think of your dad and hiking, what are some thoughts you have? What goes through your head? I I'll tell you my story, Zach. When we talked with my dad a little while ago for the podcast, and as a kid, I remember my dad going backpacking with my dad, and all I could see was just this giant pack that
Yeah,
it was bigger than him, and
yeah,
he just seemed he was carrying everything, and I just thought, man, this guy is crazy.
yeah.
I totally loved and respected my dad too. What are some pictures in your head of hiking with dad?
Fun and also tiring, but also he makes a lot of jokes on the hike.
Uh-oh. Do you have an example of a joke I would tell? I can't.
Any kind of dad joke.
Uh,
That sounds about right, eh?
Hmm.
Bad puns.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah.
Really? That is not the Eric that I know. Is not.
I saved the dad jokes for the boys. For better or worse, I guess.
Yeah, I may need to hear some of
Yeah.
those.
Also embarrassing me in public really gets that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm good at that. Yeah.
Oh well, no, it's mainly Ty, but
Well, I get you too.
I have a question. Do you have any memories of going camping with your dad, maybe to a lake, and having a tent blow away? Does that ever happen to you, Zachary?
yeah. So oh gosh. So we were at Lake McConaughey in what, Nebraska, right?
Nebraska,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there was a giant storm, and we were trying to go to bed, and then our tent blew into the water. No, that was our canopy, but
Canopy blowing the water, yeah.
and then I just ran into the water. It was up to my chest and then up to my neck, and then I was trying to pull the canopy out. And my mom and my brother ran in to get me, and they were trying to pull me out, but I would not let go of that canopy. And so eventually we were just shoving everything in the car, and I even put the firewood in the car for some reason, but it was a painful experience, but also
And then
something
you
to.
all just drove home in the middle of the night,
We
right?
did. We got home at
Oh
like
my
5 in the
gosh.
morning.
Yeah. And so at one point in our drive, we were on the highway and it was raining so much that we barely could see our headlights. And so dad somehow pulled off the road and we sat there until it died down. A half mile from our house, it was 4 in the morning. We saw a bear and a cub just run across the street right in front of our car. Yeah, that was,
It was an interesting trip for sure.
yes,
When you look back on that, Zach, is that a good memory?
partially.
Partially, we try and convince you and Ty to go back, and you guys don't have any desire to go back to Lake McConaughey.
Well, that's because I liked going and trying to fetch the canopy of the water, but
Yeah, that's the
that's
best part.
that's literally all. Literally all.
We'll try and do that again next time then, okay?
Yeah.
We'll
Oh,
throw
We'll
the
set
canopy in the water.
don't you even think about it.
we'll set that up for you.
That's right.
So my last question, Zach, when you think about hiking and you're 10 going on 11, going on 21 right now, do you want to keep hiking? Do you think when you get to choose, because right now you don't get to choose, right? You just do whatever mom
Hmm.
and dad decide. When you get to choose, do you think you're going to hike? Do you think
Yes.
that'll be so?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
I just like being outdoors in general, seeing nature, adapting to nature. Just it's better than being stuck inside.
You like eating juniper berries?
If I need to, yes.
That's one thing he's done on his voyages is
Yeah.
they'll have them eat different things that you can find on the trail, including juniper berries, which did not go over very well with some of the kids.
Yeah.
You should make a tea out of them.
There you go.
Uh,
There you go.
Yeah,
that's can you find wild onions? Do you know how to do that?
no, not yet.
That's one to look for. Watercress is another one to look for.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Digging through bear poop to find berries. I'm
That
kidding. You should never do
I'm
that.
not.
Seen that on TV.
Well, you mean like, I mean, unless there's a civet nearby and you want me to get civet poo for coffee, then
Yeah. Okay. No,
Yeah.
let's forego that.
We'll avoid that part. Yeah.
Civet poo coffee.
Have you heard of that, Zach?
I don't know of which you speak. I'm not sure if I want to know, to be quite honest.
It's supposedly a delicacy. I don't know where,
Mm.
somewhere in the world.
Because there's
South
not a lot of
America?
civets in the world, I take it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And probably even less civet poo
Yeah, probably.
that is worth brewing into a tasty beverage.
Someone
So,
does. Yeah, I don't know.
Zach, do you have any Father's Day thoughts for your dad?
I do have a plan, but it's secret.
Okay, for Father's
Secret.
Day.
Yeah,
Do you want to at least tell Mr. Zach?
yeah,
Plan?
yeah, sure.
And I'm not going to listen.
Okay,
I'll just sit over here.
I might take my dad on a 14er.
Oh, yeah, I like that. You're gonna need your mom to go along with this.
Yep.
Oh, what's your favorite food to eat when you hike? For me, that was always the highlight.
That's the thing is backpacking meals aren't usually that good. I got a chicken tikka masala meal last year. We went hiking and it was really good. So I think,
During a backpacking trip?
yeah, it was really good. So I
Yeah.
think that.
Didn't give you any tummy troubles at all?
No, that was like the lemon chicken. Yeah. Maybe we should get like the bean soup, all three of
Yes.
us.
Bean
And
soup?
then mom get something healthy and then we just let it rip.
Do you have one favorite memory of time that you and I have spent around camping or hiking?
I would say backyard camping.
Oh, we've done that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
fun.
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah.
Also just me trying to get ahead of you in backpacking trips. I'm just running with a 20-pound backpack trying to get ahead of you.
Constant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm never ahead of you. I'm always behind you.
Well,
Awesome.
thank you so much for being our guest today, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
This was
Mhm.
wonderful.
Thanks, kiddo.
Mm-hmm.
We're here with a very special guest today, Eric's other son, Ty. Ty, welcome to the Greens and Blues podcast. How are you today?
Good. I'm glad to be here.
We're here to talk about dads and hiking with our dads and Father's Day. And with that in mind, your dad has some questions for you.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
Good. I just saw you like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now,
I've been in this room with you the whole time.
yeah, this is pretty awesome, huh? So, Ty, do you want to kind of go through some of the outdoor experiences and the hiking experiences you've had in the over 13 years that you've been around?
Yeah. I have had a lot of great hiking experiences. I think that a lot of it is because of my dad and his outdoorsiness and his ability to hike 14ers. I think that it's helped a lot with my hiking ability and all of the hikes I've done.
Oh, shucks. Thanks,
Does,
Ty.
does your dad push you to hike, or is this something that you've chosen on your own and you just know your dad's going to be a good person to go along with?
I'd say most of it is my own free will. I mean, I think of it as a personal goal for myself and just something that I like to do.
Do you have any hiking goals in particular, or do you just enjoy being outdoors and getting the exercise and all that?
I think I've already completed all the hiking goals I have, so right
Okay.
now it's just a hobby.
Okay.
So, what were some of your hiking goals, Ty?
My main hiking goal was probably to hike Angel's Landing, which I did, and it was incredibly hard.
That's in Zion National Park, right?
Mhm.
What was that like hiking that?
It was pretty treacherous, actually. There were some moments where, like, I tripped or stumbled, and I didn't think I was gonna make it. And it was pretty rough being up there.
It's- That was a a hair-raising experience.
Yeah.
Was that, and so that was the toughest
Yeah, for
hike you've
sure.
had?
For
Okay.
sure.
All right. I'd buy that 100%.
Let me ask you a question that will say a lot about you. Did you like that?
For sure.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. Not that I want you to be scared out of your wits or anything, but I mean, it showed that you can persevere and push yourself through a difficult challenge like
Yeah.
that and make it out the other side.
Yep. That was one of the main reasons I did it, actually.
Yeah, to prove yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than Angel's Landing, what are some of the memorable hikes you've done with your dad?
I specifically remember Mount Snicktow. That one was really hard for me mostly because of the angle of the slope. That one just
Especially
really
right
got
at
to
the
me.
beginning there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Do you remember doing, because I think your first 14er was Bierstadt with your Taekwondo class, right? Several years ago.
Yeah.
Do you remember much of that?
Yeah, I do actually. I specifically remember hiking all the way to the top, and I remember Master Cam did it with me.
Yep.
That was a great experience overall.
You had fun with that?
Yeah.
You're like a mountain goat. Like you got up there. You could have gotten up there like 2 hours ahead of me, but you decided to stay back and give me a chance. So
Nah, I
that
probably
was
couldn't
that
have.
was helpful.
As you get older, Ty, you're going to have to slow down for your dad a little bit.
Yeah.
He already has to. He could have smoked me up Angel's Landing, and he decided, no, I'll hang out with Dad just a little bit
I'm
here.
sorry that I'm faster than you, Dad.
It
I
is,
don't mean to brag, but
it's the fate of fathers to be replaced by their sons at some
For
point.
sure. I'm already resigned to that, so that's a good
I'm
thing.
only 13.
Yeah.
So Mount Snicktow, I think we heard about that when we talked to your younger brother. Do you remember other things about that hike?
Yeah, Z had to be carried for half the way. I don't know if he told you guys that, but
He did.
did.
he
He
had to
actually
be
admitted
carried by
it.
Dad. And it was pretty hilarious because I wanted to make it to the top, but Dad was struggling with carrying Z, and Z was just like, "Oh, I can't do this. I just want to lie down and go back down the mountain." I was like, "Come on, Z."
I don't remember this part. Did you carry the backpack then when I was carrying Z, or was it like Z was carrying the backpack and I was giving him a piggyback ride? Do you remember
Oh,
that?
Z was carrying the backpack.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah,
So you're just farting around, just running everywhere, huh?
yeah.
You didn't have to do anything? Okay.
I had to take a break every 50 steps though.
Oh, I was
So-
like that. No.
I love it. What other hikes have you done with your dad that are memorable? Or what other hikes in general that you've done that are memorable?
I remember, I think it was Mount Blue Sky. We did that one time.
We did as a family. Yep.
Yeah, the slope that we had to climb, it was way, way taller than I thought it was. So I thought it was just gonna have to hike like 100 feet up, but in reality, it was way, way harder to do. And I remember I was like really, really high up, and then everybody else was 200 feet below me, and I was like, "Come on, guys, go faster!"
It's
That's
like the story of your life, huh? Just you're always waiting for
can,
us.
can
Always.
somebody else just go my speed?
Yeah. We're like in line at the bank, and here you are just flying up ahead of us, and like we can't catch you.
You've talked about a couple hikes, so Mount Blue Sky, Mount Bierstadt, Mount Snicktow. Do you have any other hiking experiences? I know you guys have gone backpacking a few times. Is there anything else that stands out to you?
Yeah, we had a couple of great backpacking experience because my friend Max, he has a dad who is very interested in backpacking, so I've gone on a couple of trips with him and they've been great.
I have one memory. This is not a backpacking. Well, for you, it kind of was. So we talked a little bit with Zach about his voyages with his school, and you had one voyage in particular that was kind of noteworthy, right? Was that your fall in sixth grade? Is that what
Yeah,
it was? Okay.
that
Tell us
one
about that.
was pretty rough. So first of all, the people running it, they did not know how to do
Let's-
anything
Let's
in the
hope they're
wild.
listening. That'd be great.
They
Tyler Fredrickson throwing shade here today on the podcast. Please speak your mind. Don't
Why don't you
Don't-
name names while we're at it? Is
Yeah,
there
don't-
someone specific that you
don't-
want to just
don't
roast?
filter it out. So
Mr.
what?
If you're hearing this, I'm sorry.
Oh, he did it.
He went there.
Oh gosh, that's great. So yeah, we don't have to name names, but yeah, it's you did have some rough experiences. Why don't you get into
Yeah.
those?
So what was rough about it?
First of all, they didn't know how to filter their water.
Oh dear.
They had broken packs, and what they would do is while people were waiting to get their water filtered, you know those normal filtration packs that like you hang on a tree and then the water goes down through them, and then it gets
It's like
filtered.
a Sawyer water filter where
Yeah,
it
yeah,
goes
those.
in and then it just dumps out into whatever your container ends
Yeah.
up being.
Yeah.
So what they would do is they would take rocks out from around the lake and put it in our water bottles, and then the water would just to hold them in place while the water was filtering into our bottles. So
Oh.
basically, we had like all that trash that was on that rock. It got into our bottles too.
Well, of course,
So
and that could have the bacteria in it that
Yeah.
yeah, it was
I don't know if
definitely not
Giardia
healthy water.
loves rocks, but that doesn't sound great.
there
Yeah.
Giardia can just be in a little droplet of water on that rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some other memorable experiences too.
So how long was this trip? This was like 2-3 days out in the.
I think it was 4.
It was 4 days.
Yeah, 4
So
days.
there was one aspect of it that was particularly memorable, I think, and it was the weather on one of the days, right?
It was raining the entire time.
Yeah. Well, wait, the whole 4 days or just one day?
Oh, it was raining the whole time.
The entire. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't
except
remember that
for
part.
the 4th day when we went back to the buses.
Okay.
It was the only day when it was actually okay.
Wow. So did you get soaked?
Yes, very much so. I definitely needed a shower or 5 after that experience.
Or 5.
So Ty, when you think about hiking with your dad, do you have an image or something that comes to mind when we say hiking with dad?
Normally, my mind first goes to kind of a little bit of a hard experience. That's the first thing I think of, but I don't like skip out on it because I know it's definitely going to be memorable.
What makes it so memorable?
All of the crazy times that we have together.
And what makes it so hard? Is it the fact that I make you carry a 50-pound pack? Is that what it is?
If you did, then I would take my chances with the 6th grade voyage over hiking with you.
The Giardia and the
Yeah, the
soaking
Yeah.
the
wet.
Giardia
one only
rock
had
in the bottom of
30-pound
the water
backs.
bottle. What's your favorite thing about hiking with your dad?
One of my favorite things is the personal accomplishment that I've done this really hard hike. And that especially mattered to me when I was really young and like when I was 8 and 9 and 10. So I'm just proud of what I did back then.
You're on your way to becoming a veteran hiker.
Mount Everest in 15.
Oh man.
let's maybe tamper those expectations a little bit.
Anything in particular that you want to accomplish or do this summer?
I think there are 2 in particular that I was thinking about. Number 1 was Long's Peak.
Yeah.
I know that one's a pretty big challenge, but after
That was your
Angel's
dad's
Landing,
first peak.
that was your first one?
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Pretty rough.
Yeah. It was rough. It was, I think looking back, it was somewhat fun, but it was a challenge.
Yeah.
What was your second thing that you want to?
Quandary Peak was another one I was thinking about.
Ooh, Quandary.
Your dad did that. He went and hiked a mountain and then he's like, I have extra time. So then he went and did Quandary after that. So maybe you guys can knock that out this summer as a training hike for Mr. Eric over there.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. There's a handful of 13ers I'd like to tackle too if you are interested in joining me on some of those.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
My last question, Ty, is at some point, I don't know if you ever plan on being a parent or not, but if you do, would you take your kid hiking in the way that your dad has taken you guys hiking and encouraged you guys to hike on your own?
I'd love to take him on anything if I have a chance.
There you go.
Well, Ty, I can't thank you enough for being our guest and for telling some of your stories. I hope you don't have permanent bacterial infection from your water filtration experience. And if you do, I hope you go to a hospital immediately.
Yeah. Thanks for being on our podcast, Ty. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you. I'm glad to be on here.
Well, Eric, we just heard from your 2 boys. That was interesting. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that secretly they've both had a lot of fun hiking, even if there may have been a little bit of a muted response when asked about their experiences. I think they've truly enjoyed it. So, what did you think, Zach?
Oh, your kids are a hoot. They're what the listeners didn't see is that even though they're separated by a couple of years, they both look very similar. And you could see that Zach is just a little smaller version of Ty on some level. They are funny, witty boys that clearly love hiking with their dad. They clearly love hiking. You have not extinguished that flame in them. You've managed to keep them going, and they're not cynical about it. They have the stick to itiveness to hike, which is fantastic. I can only predict that as they go on in life, these are going to be kind of core experiences that they lean in on. And like you said, even though they may kind of ho hum it a little bit now, I think this is going to loom pretty large for them.
Yeah, well, we're hopeful. So, yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, we also here at the Greens and Blues podcast have to do a listener first. We have never had to issue anything like a retraction before, but on this bonus episode, we do have a minor correction to make.
Wait, we made a mistake?
I, it's hard to
Is it
believe.
is that harsh? Is that a harsh way of saying it? Is that going too far?
No, it was much needed beta that we could give our listeners on the Quandary route, and in particular on the parking and shuttle situation for Quandary Peak.
Mm.
So we had a direct message from a listener here, and Eric is going to relay some important updated information on how we get to Quandary Peak to hike the darn thing.
Yeah, so this came from a listener, Ryan Perry. He happens to also have been the same listener that helped me get our podcast straightened out on Spotify. So I promise you we have more than one listener, but Ryan Perry in particular has been super
No, he's
helpful.
the one. He's it. It's our friends and family, and then it's Ryan.
Yeah. Ryan, welcome to the fold. You're part of us now. No, Ryan sent me an IM saying that we had some what he called minor inconsistencies with our description of the parking in the shuttle. So thank you, Ryan, for chiming in and sharing your knowledge on this. So it sounds like, as of right now, our impression was that you had to pay for parking and then the shuttle from the parking lot to the trailhead. It sounds like you have to pay for only one or the other. So that's a good clarification. It's not like $3,000 to Summit Quandary on the weekend or whatever. You have to either pay to park your car and then somehow independently get to the trailhead, or you pay for the shuttle and they'll give you a code for the parking lot and then the shuttle will take you to the trailhead. So either way,
I could just see the city of Breckenridge setting up like a little booth where they've got like a tent and like little cribs there. And like when you park your car, they're like, all right, do you have your firstborn? Or there's like a doctor there, like it's that old urban myth. There's a doctor there and there's a tub of ice. And
oh, you're gonna get your kidney taken?
yeah, you're just going to wake up with a kidney removed. And they're like, all right, now you're ready to hike.
Mayor of Breckenridge, if you're listening, don't just ignore that. They didn't hear that.
So you don't have to pay for both. And then what else did Ryan inform us?
Ryan also mentioned that there are some signs in the parking lot that are, let's say that they're PG-13 at best, and were posted by folks that are none too happy about the fees associated with getting to the trailhead now. So if you want to hike Quandary with little ones, maybe bring some blindfolds or something with them, and maybe they can avoid some of the language on those signs. But either way, we appreciate Ryan chiming in and sharing the real truth about what it takes to get from Breckenridge to Quandary and for some of the warning signs that are on the way. So thanks, Ryan. We appreciate it.
Ryan also told us, I believe, that there's a new paved parking lot actually at Quandary, correct?
Correct. Yeah, which was news to me. and maybe I'm recalling this wrong, but I thought that there was a small parking lot kind of right off of Route 9. So,
It was always, and then you just parked along the dirt road
uh-huh,
right off
yeah.
of Route 9.
Yep. Yep. So it sounds like they've kind of upgraded the trailhead parking at least. But I'm guessing it's not large enough to where you could depend on being able to get a parking spot at any time. I think that's probably why Breckenridge encourages you to park in the town and then take the shuttle to the trailhead. So, but sounds like an improvement nonetheless.
Well, thank you for that, Ryan. We probably won't make any more mistakes or have any other misunderstandings on this podcast.
For sure. I'm gonna bet on it.
Yeah, I mean, that comes with infallibility, but if we do, you can write us at greensandbluespodcast@gmail.com or find us on our Facebook page and inform us of our errors. And if they do not impugn our narcissistic self-worth, we may actually read them on the podcast itself.
Well, we'll see.
With that, we thank you all for listening. We will return to our regularly scheduled podcasts in our next episode when we talk about our worst 14er experiences.